innovation that is unleashed at the same time persists for decades to come. So that the 1 in 3 or 4 families that Dr. Oz mentioned, standing at a pharmaceutical counter or pharmacy counter right now, wrestling with the decision that no family should have to make of whether or not they can pick up their prescription because they can't afford it, will no longer be the case. And at the same time, we know that there are roughly 20,000 known diseases in the world, and we have a treatment or a cure for fewer than a quarter of those. And so this president and his policies is not only safeguarding affordability for American families, but is ensuring that we continue to bet on American exceptionalism. We bet on innovation. We bet on the principles that have taken us to this place in 250 years for the next 250 years. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Chris. Great job you do. Maybe you want to talk about rescheduling while we're here, and just say what you're doing and the progress that you've made.
Right. Well, Mr. President, today is another promise made, promise kept day. On December 18th, you signed an executive order on increasing medical marijuana and cannabidiol research, and today we delivered on that promise. The Acting Attorney General this morning signed an order that moves into Schedule 3, medical marijuana products that are FDA approved or that are state licensed. This is a giant move forward to implement your promise, and it's actually a campaign promise that you made. You said we're going to move into Schedule 3 to increase the research on these medical products, and just wanted everyone to know that 1, you make promises, you keep them, and 2, what does Schedule 3 mean for state licensed medical marijuana products? We will begin implementation right away of this order. It does not legalize marijuana. It makes it easy for the researchers to actually study and understand medical marijuana, especially in populations that are using it. We know that 1 in 10 seniors right now use medical marijuana in the past year, and they report that it really helps them, but we don't have the science or the understanding to guide the patients and the doctors, and so both patients and doctors are flying blind without knowing how they interact with other medications because the research has been difficult to do. And so your promise today says those state licensed medical marijuana products are now in Schedule 3, and we expect the research to significantly increase so that we can understand how to guide patients and doctors in this effort. And there will be additional actions that will come this summer to do an expedited hearing for the administrative hearing with the Department of Justice for all of marijuana to move into Schedule 3.
And the military is very happy about it, and a lot of people suffering from big problems, which this seems to be the best answer. They're very happy about it. So the rescheduling is starting, and that's a big thing, rescheduling. They kept saying, what about the rescheduling? And so, great job. I appreciate it. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Howard Kessler. He's one of the most successful men in the world, actually, and he had some medical difficulties, and he came upon this by accident, in a way, and he said, well, he had to go through a lot of different medications, and he said this was the one that was much better than anything else. And so he experienced it. He didn't benefit by it other than from the standpoint that he lives a much better life now. So hopefully you don't need it, but if you do need it, I hear it's the best of all the alternatives. But I want to thank Howard Kessler and Michelle Kessler. They really pushed this very hard. These are two people, very straight arrows. They're not into marijuana. They're not into anything. But he found this answer, and he said, he's doing it for other people. And so Howard and Michelle, probably they're watching or they'll be hearing about it, but they worked very hard to get this done, and it's an honor, and you've done fantastically. You all have, and I appreciate it. And a man who's doing an excellent job is Howard Letnick. He's in a little different sphere. He's not in the medical sphere, but he knows what it all means. And from Commerce, he's the Secretary of Commerce. Howard, would you say a few words, please?
Sure. So in partnership with Bobby Kennedy and Mehmet Oz and the whole team, when they do Most Favored Nation, we also ask the company to reshore and build their drugs here in America, because too many of our drugs, our key drugs for our health, are being made overseas. And in a conflict, we can't rely upon them. And I'm honored to say that our partners from Regeneron have agreed to reshore their production of pharmaceutical drugs, and this is exactly from your pharmaceutical tariffs. That's the point. So that means $448 billion of drug manufacturing is coming to America because of your tariffs, because of your pharmaceutical strategy, and we are proud to invite Regeneron to do this giant build in America, and all the rest of the pharmaceutical companies. They've committed to build in America because of your tariff policy and your strategy.
And because of the tariffs, it's been amazing actually. We have Eli Lilly and Pfizer and all of the companies. We had, I guess, 7 of them here at one time, which was interesting to see, but they actually got along with each other pretty well. They stood right behind me, the biggest companies in the world, and they're all building, Eli Lilly's building, I think, 5 major plants, which without tariffs they would have built none. I said, how many would you build without none? They were all making these products in other countries. A lot of other countries, actually, not just China, but a lot of other countries. And I think by the time I leave office, they'll be mostly operating. They have an incentive to do them quickly, big incentive, like the tariffs go up if they don't. And remember, if they do them here, they don't have any tariffs to pay. It's an incredible incentive. And if they don't do them here, they have a very substantial tariff, so they get penalized. And it's bringing countries, not only drug companies, but car companies. AI is a different thing altogether, but even there, but the AI is, we're leading China in AI, we're leading everybody in AI. We're leading now in car companies. They're coming from Canada, they're coming from Mexico, Germany, Japan. They're pouring into our country because of our very smart, should have been done long ago by other presidents. We were the car capital of the world 50 or 60 years ago, and then they just started taking them away. We were the chip capital of the world, and now, Intel. And now they're coming back. All the chip companies are coming back. You may say a word about that, Howard, real fast, because what we're doing with chips are incredible. And all we're doing is saying at the end of a year and a half, 2 years, if you don't have your chip company, you're going to pay a tremendous tariff to put chips into this country. And they are building, I think we'll have close to 50% of the chip market very soon. Right now we had nothing. We had virtually nothing. And they're coming in from Taiwan. They're coming in mostly from Taiwan because that's where chips are made, but mostly from South Korea, Taiwan, various other countries, but they're coming back to America. We're bringing them all back. It's a revolution. Nobody's ever seen what we've done. There's never been anything like what we've done. We have $18 trillion being invested. That's for 11 months. And the last administration had less than $1 trillion in 4 years. We have, in 11 months, over $18 trillion. Howard, do you want to talk just for a second about the chip market, because it's explosive?
Sure. So you've got semiconductors, you've got leading edge logic, you've got high bandwidth memory, and you have foundational chips. And America had a couple of points, 3 or 4% market share, and we are, of course, the biggest demand. And the president gave the order, let's get these factories, these fabs built in America. And our expectation is we will have $1 trillion of these fabs. These are factories. This is not the hyperscalers buying chips. This is literally the making of the chips, right? We had Micron, $200 billion, TSMC, $165 billion. The list goes on and on. He negotiated a great deal with Taiwan, $500 billion coming to America. We'll have $1 trillion of semiconductors. That's part of his $18 trillion, but it's foundational for us to take care of ourselves.
Well, thank you very much. Now, we'll go off subject for a minute, but I think it's very interesting, and I hope you go over and take a look because it's happening right now as we speak. But first, if you look outside, so we had flooring outside. We had slate, and it was coming to pieces. It's been there since the early 1940s. And it's a path to the Oval Office. It's a path to the West Wing, and it was terrible. It was broken, bad shape. The whole White House has been in bad shape. It's right now in better shape than it is. I think the day they built it,